Good afternoon, everyone. Can we please bow for prayers? Loving God and Father, we come before your presence this afternoon, giving you thanks and praise for the day that thou hast made. We glorify and magnify your name. Lord, we thank you for this opportune time where we can praise you, we can glorify you, and Lord, and we can say thanks for all those who have been involved in this creation of this event this afternoon. All those who are here, we ask for a special blessing, especially upon the families of those who have come from far to be here to honor their family and us. We have been doing a lot, the Sickle Cell Association. So you ask you also to pronounce a special blessing upon this August organization. Into your hands we place everything this afternoon. May everything be done to your name's honor and glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Reverend Casimir Thomas, and the Hope of Grenada's future. Please give them a round of applause. And thank you, Sister Clouden, for leading invocation. Mrs. Ann David Antwine, Chairperson of the Sickle Cell Association, executive members and members of the association, our patients who are here with us this afternoon, Miss Deborah St. Bernard and the relatives of the late Sir, or the Honorable Sir Walter Clement Noel, other members of the public, Mr. and Mrs. Peter Radix, who have so graciously given us a space on this crazy street where so many people pass, so that Walter Clement Noel will be seen for centuries to come. Sister Anna Martin, Director of Nursing Services at the hospital, members of the Brathwaite family, who have been charter members and lifelong beneficiaries of the Sickle Cell Association, members of the press, and all the friends who are here this evening, Mr. Keynes Douglas, wonderful keeper of the arts and craft and history of Grenada, and Dr. John Angus Martin, who I call the National Archivist. He does nothing better than keep all our business in one place. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here. It's a hot Sunday afternoon, but people have taken time off to come and to support the Sickle Cell Association. I also want to apologize for the absence of Her Excellency, Dame Cecile Lagrenade, whose absence today does not really reflect her sentiment toward and appreciation for the work of the honored memory of Sir Walter Clement Noel, who was the first person diagnosed in the world with sickle cell disease, right, and who had been an erudite scholar and who also overcame diversity and adversity to become a dentist who practiced right across the street here. That was 100 years ago. Walter Clement Noel died in 1916. It's my distinct pleasure to welcome everyone to this historic event. Never in our history has a Grenadian been known to receive our country's highest honor in recognition, that is the knighthood, in recognition of their role in the global advancement and recognition and research of a disease that is so pervasive, so prevalent, especially in people who look like us. When young Walter Clement Noel boarded that ship out of Barbados to go up to the US to study dentistry at the turn of the 20th century, and quite possibly after having had a lot of pain and many, many painful crises, as is often known among people with sickle cell disease, and all the other related maladies, the circulatory challenges, the headaches, the malaise, the constant anemia, he surely did not envision his name and even the contribution to that he'll be recognized for contribution to research and management of sickle cell disease. Being patient zero means that everybody's eyes on you and they are going to take whatever they find to make sure the rest of us over the next few centuries who are likely to have sickle cell disease will be recognized. So we thank him for having been. And if you understand how research goes, many of you may know of the Nuremberg laws, simply because in the past you can do research on anybody, you can just take people out of jail, you can take children or anyone and do whatever you want. Now there are laws that govern how research is done. I don't know that Walter was subject to the laws and may have had in the years he spent in the US a lot of blood taken from him, a lot of time poked, looked, and he probably was not even so sure of the research that was going on with the substances taken out of his body. But today, over a century later, his name is highly recognized and honored, and his name will be immortalized in plain sight here on Church Street for universal viewing at this very site where he practiced and lived, practiced downstairs and lived upstairs, we are told. The Sickle Cell Association is proud to be a driver of a prolonged, sometimes, I don't want to say fighting, but combative sometimes, but successful and happy ending campaign, and to manifest our gratitude and to memorize our hero. Sickle Cell Association welcomes everyone here today, present at this event as we continue to educate and continue our path as advocates and to facilitate access for early screening, for knowledge-based information and care and advocacy, and the continued education of all Grenadians throughout and through our global partners. Sickle cell, as you know, is a genetic disorder of the heme complex, that thing that forms the hemoglobin of the red blood cells, and it's genetic. So you get it from either mommy, daddy, or both of them, right? And it's prevalent, like I said, in persons of African ancestry. So today, welcome. Thank you so very much for leaving your food, your chicken and rice and peas on the stove and all the things you have done and coming here to share with us this really very important moment, not only in the history of Sickle Cell Association, but in the history of Grenada and Grenadians. And we continue to be the best in the world. So thank you very much, and clap yourself. And the Sickle Cell Association, people with sickle cell disease are very diverse. Among them is a young poet, Rihanna Utley, who wrote a poem named A Night Not Forged in War, which is going to be shared with you today by Miss Denise Guy. Please welcome her.
Thank you. Hi. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Denise Guy. The poem I'm going to read today is called A Night Not Forged in War. Now, this was written by a talented Grenadian, a young woman who happened to be studying abroad right now, but she is very much aware of the struggles related to sickle cell disease. A Night Not Forged in War, Sir Walter Clement Noel. From an island where the seas breathe low, where green hills cradle the winds that blow, birth a man the world had not yet known, but from him a legacy was sown. In his veins a secret lay, a secret storm that brought dismay. His blood a crescent strange unknown, a fragile truth not yet shown. No chalk in hand, no lecture given, yet through his pain he schooled the living. For in his struggles doctors found a key to heal the world around. Today we stand where he once stood and name him as we always should. From Grenada's shore to distant lands, his life now lives in countless hands. A night not forged in war or sword, but in the truth his blood restored. A legacy no time could tame, an island son we would proclaim. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Guy, and we want to thank Ms. Rihanna Utley, the scribe of that poem. Sir Walter Clement Noel became Sir Walter Clement Noel when he was mentioned when he was recognized among the honorees at our National Independence celebration on February 7th. He was posthumously granted the title of Most Distinguished Order of the Nation, Order of Knighthood, for health and research. And like I said, among the other awardees at our independence celebration this year. His family, led by Ms. Deborah Bernard, whom we all know, and other relatives present here today, have decided to pass on a photo of the ceremony in which that honor was bestowed upon him at the Gigi's residence. To the Sickle Cell Association for having been tireless advocate for national and public recognition of Walter Clement Noel. Like I said, it's been often a war. And today, she's going to share this with us as we recognize his contribution towards research and health in the area of sickle cell. So I invite Ms. Deborah Bernard and Ms. Anne David Antwine, current chairperson of the Sickle Cell Association of Grenada. Where? Yes. Will receive this picture that we will have, this photograph that will be kept in the office of the Sickle Cell Association.
I want to say something too. Yes. Yes. Good afternoon, all. Yes, it gives me, well, I don't want to use the word pleasure, but it is indeed an honor to be able to share this with the association, which is a replica of the award. The actual award is going to go to his niece, his closest surviving relative, who lives in Canada, Mrs. Yolande Bain. She used to be a public officer. Some of you might remember her. She celebrated 99 last Sunday. I'm anxious for that 100th birthday. But she was 99, fully compos mentis. I told her I will send the actual award by safe hands to her, and I want her to leave instructions that upon her demise, the award should go to the Grenada National Museum, because it is an award for all of Grenada. Walter Clement Noel was my granduncle. He was one of the earlier children of my great-grandmother. He came from her first husband, who died early, along with the children she had with him, including Walter. My grandmother came from her second husband, and my cousins here, they share the same grandmother. Yes, they share the same grandmother. So my grandmother and their grandmother were sisters. And those children from Mary Justina Noel lived into their 80s and 90s. My father lived to 97, and COVID robbed him from us, and we didn't get to celebrate 100 with him. But he too was fully compos mentis and everything else. So it is an honor today to share this with you and to hope that we can, in fact, read in our history books about this very important event, because we have to recognize that being the first case discovered in the world is indeed a big thing. I recall when I just came to practice with my dad, which is just up the street, we had professors visiting from universities wanting to interview and get information on Walter Clement. In fact, one wrote a little book
and sent back a little magazine just for children to be able to read, to see the history of this disease. So again, it gives me great honor to present what I did to the Sickle Cell Association. I hope they would put it on their wall so that everybody would see it. So we would have that in addition to the plaque on the building. We must say thank you to the Radixes for donating the space on their building, which of course Walter once owned, where he resided and practiced as a dentist. And I thank you very much for coming out this afternoon.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the Prime Minister, Honorable Dick Mitchell. Please be standing. Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, Ms. St. Bernard. And talking about history, and I'm Prime Minister, sorry, good afternoon and welcome. Thank you for being here. Talking about history, I've called him a million times. The archivist, the national archivist, is I'm giving him a job, no pay. But hear me, it is very important, as Deborah said, that we keep our history and that we send it down the century. It took us 110 years after Walter Clement Noel's death to recognize him. May this never happen again. May this never happen again. And so I want to invite to bring and to give him the task to make sure that this gets into our history books next year for school, Mr. John Angus Martin, who has been really talking in his previous writings about about Walter Clement Noel. Mr. Martin.
Good afternoon, everyone. Prime Minister, other distinguished guests. I'm only going to say a few words. I think I've already done my piece for Sir Walter. He's already in the A to Z of Grenada Heritage, which...
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Which was published in 2022. I think when I first found the information, found the first article that was written, I think it was 1902 or so, or 1910, sorry, that the first article came out. And it was interesting to see the details of that article and what was recorded in it. Like many about our history and our culture, a lot of it is recorded outside and remains outside. It's always been a goal of mine to bring that to Grenada, because I think we should have the details of our history so that we create the narrative that we want. It's sad that it has taken us this long to recognize, but we are doing it. And I hope this is an opportunity for us to recognize others who have made these contributions. And unbeknownst to Sir Walter, he was unaware that all of this stuff was done. That paper was published and he was unaware of the information in it and his role in having the status as the first individual that provided the details of sickle cell to research. So I think from my perspective, I have been collecting, I have all of the papers. Several papers have been done. You speak about the other individuals who have done research. All of those papers, those things are available. Unfortunately, many of these are behind paywalls, so it's not easy to access these papers, but we are working to establish a national archives where we will have Grenada, but Grenadians overseas as well, who have made contributions to not just Grenada, but the world. So I think for me is a real honor being here to celebrate something like this that is really important to our history. Thank you very much.
Did you guys hear him say archiving? I did. Thank you, Mr. Martin, Dr. Martin. We have a gentleman among us who has been probably the most impassioned member of Sickle Cell Association, although he lives like 3,000 miles away. Drive you crazy. But I want to recognize at this moment the work that Mr. Roy Vincent has done in somewhat archiving the story of Walter Clement Noel. We're going to take a few minutes to recognize, to look at, and it's not getting on. Well, due to technical difficulties, after all this hard work, we're going to have to not share a very important and very lovingly and completely redacted story. Are you going to be able to pass it from there? Of Walter Clement Noel? You could put it on the stream? And I thought we never had no water. So, and there's no way you can get it even after, so we can share it? All right, I'm going to move on in the interim and invite Mrs. Ann David Antwine, the current and most fervent chairman of any organization, but of Sickle Cell Association. Drives you crazy, call you all kind of hours in the night and ask you if you've gone to bed yet, and in the morning to ask if you wake up yet. And who's impassioned, whose passion and whose constant war fight, call it what you want, was lovingly executed so that Walter Clement Noel can get that knighthood that he so very well deserved. I hope. I'm going to ask Mrs. Antwine to bring her greetings as chairman of the Sickle Cell Association of Grenada.
Honorable Prime Minister, all honored guests, everyone present, all those listening to us on the World Wide Web, wherever you are, we are glad that we are here today. And you know, sometimes I have a fight with Dr. Nixon, but today I won't fight with her. You know what? Because she's quite right. Sometimes it's morning, sometimes it's midnight. Roy knows, everybody knows, all hours of the day and night, because we had to get this task done, and it is doesn't get any sleep either, because she's being called all hours of the night to do things that need to be done. Never mind, we've got to this point. We are here, and there are things that we need to carry on doing. And those things include recognizing all the members of the Sickle Cell Association. This association has been in existence for 20 years. The two members who are no longer with us are Mrs. Jean Griffiths and Mrs. Christine Braffett. Can we just recognize those two people, although they are not here? We have members of the Braffett family who are here with us and who continue to follow in their mother's footsteps. The third member of that group, I can say, well, I don't want to say, but I will say, was myself. So all three of us got together, and 20 years later, we've managed to achieve what we set out to do, to ensure that the word about sickle cell disease was spread far and wide, that people, many more people are now aware of what this condition is, how it started, and what we are to do. So let me take 1 minute to ask all the members of the Sickle Cell Association. There are 44 members in this organization, all volunteers. And there are a number of them that are present. So can you please stand just for 1 minute so we can recognize the members who are here present. Thank you, thank you. When you have an activity like that and 75% of the members of the organization turn out for the activity, you know that something is working. So I'm really, really grateful to all of you for your work. Where do we go from here? We know how we got here because 3 people got together and got things moving. Where do we go next? In the 20 years that we have been working, we've had the benefit of education. We've got people knowing their status. We've supported, advised, we've helped in the management of the condition. We've got people to know, take an interest in the skills concerned for treatment and care. The way forward would be more focus on school health, the component of school health that has to do with sickle cell. Continue to liaise with the Ministry of Health personnel. Continue to engage all persons at all levels, before birth, at birth, after birth, and right to the grave. We continue our relationship with local, regional, and international organizations. We have to restart the process of the postage stamp that was prepared and is now in the archives somewhere within our postal system. So that we need to get going, so that those people who have an interest in postage stamps and what they mean and what they carry for countries, that would rise again. We, Prime Minister and all present, we have to think that Walter Clement Noel, first we have in St. Patrick's, the place where he's buried, on his graveside there and the grave of a number of his family members, there is a plaque that was put there many years ago. And every single year during the month of June, we do what we need to do on that place. For example, we get visitors there, we put flowers on the grave, we spread the history, we visit, we do all of those. The next thing is to ensure that we move beyond that to health tourism. Because of Walter Clement Noel, we must ensure that Grenada benefits from health tourism. I can see that my colleague here from the Ministry of Health is shaking her head and thinking it should happen. So we want to ensure that we get people coming to Grenada for all that we have to offer at the moment, but all those persons who have an interest in science, have an interest in health tourism, that they come to Grenada specifically because Grenada has the history, has the person of the first diagnosed case in the whole wide world. And I always make sure I say the whole wide world. Because sometimes when you say the world, people think America, they think China, they think anywhere else, but they don't often think of Grenada having a foot in that kind of science and experience. So we need to start working on that. When the plaque is put up on the building, we will ensure that it is looked at, and of course we have Mr. Gentleman here from Health, so he needs to know then that a lot more is done in that area. So thank you, and all members. I will just invite Roy now, who has the history in his head, because we cannot get it on the frame, that we can work through that and move together as one team. Thank you, bless you.
Word of Walter Noel as the first person in the world diagnosed with sickle cell anemia, a chronic, painful, inherited blood disease that affects millions of people worldwide, but most prevalent in blacks and people of Middle Eastern descent. What you probably don't know is how the discovery came about and Walter's role in it. What was his medical condition? What were some of the physical, social, and psychological challenges he faced that positioned him to be the person whose diagnosis kick-started the research and treatments that would provide relief and extended longevity for millions? Walter was born in Grenada on June 21st, 1884. He lived with his mother and siblings on Duquesne Estate in the parish of St. Mark. They were a relatively wealthy family. His father, John, was a landowner from the parish of St. Andrew. He died of renal failure at the age of 37 when Walter was 2. His mother, Mary Justina, inherited the estate from her father. His sister, Jane, died at the age of 24 from pulmonary disease. On completing his secondary education at Harrison College in Barbados, Walter was accepted at the Chicago College of Dentistry. He was 20 years old. Walter arrived at Ellis Island in New York City on September 5th, 1904, with $70 in his pocket, equivalent to about $2,723 today. During the weeks-long voyage, he suffered with leg ulcers, a common affliction for people with sickle cell anemia. He was treated with topical iodine. From New York City, he traveled to Chicago by train to begin his dentistry studies. Walter began dentistry school on October 5th, 1904. His residence was 2 blocks from the school. He was without doubt probably the only person of African descent in his class. He must have been lonely, cold, homesick, shunned, discriminated against, and physically ill. In November, he developed respiratory problems, another common affliction for people with sickle cell anemia. On December 26, 1904, he was admitted to Presbyterian Hospital, 1 block from his residence. There he was treated by Dr. Ernest Irons. The hospital performed a routine physical exam that included blood and urine tests. Dr. Irons' report indicated observing abnormal, elongated, red blood cells. He even sketched the shape of the cells in his report. His report also indicated Walter's appearance as pale. Dr. Irons discussed the case with his supervising physician, Dr. James Herrick. Despite their research and analysis, they could not explain the strange abnormalities they were seeing in Walter's red blood cells. Walter was discharged on January 22, 1905. He was hospitalized for 27 days and as a result was absent from school for several weeks. Dr. Irons continued to follow up with Walter for over 2 years, including visiting him at his home. He described Walter as an intelligent Negro. In January 1906, Walter was hospitalized at the Francis Willard Hospital. The diagnosis was bronchitis. He recovered quickly. 1 month later, on March 7th, he was laid up in bed with fever and bronchitis. He also reported feeling weak. 2 months later, Walter was again laid up in bed. Dr. Irons visited him at home and found he had a temperature of 100 degrees and fluid in his knee joint. Walter recovered after 10 days of bed rest, but of course, he missed several days of school. 7 months later, on December 26, 1906, Walter was again hospitalized for 2 months with what was diagnosed as muscular rheumatism. Here again, he was forced to miss several weeks of school. Dr. Irons last saw Walter in April 1907. Walter reported at the time that he was feeling much better except for some lingering shortness of breath. Between December 1904 and December 1906, Walter was hospitalized at least 3 times and confined to bed at least twice. Despite his frequent illnesses, Walter graduated with his freshman class from dental school on May 28, 1907. He returned to Grenada that year and opened his dental office downstairs of his residence in the parish of St. George. His mother owned the building. He had his own dental equipment, and 8 years later, in 1915, he hired an assistant. There are no known images of Walter except for the description by a 16-year-old patient who described him as smartly dressed, healthy looking, and plump with dark coffee-colored skin, a round fat face, and a good body. On May 3, 1916, Walter went to the horse races in the parish of St. Andrew. He returned home and took a shower. Later that evening, he experienced chills followed by respiratory problems that worsened. He later died in his home. He was only 32 years old. The doctor certified his death as asthenia from pneumonia. Walter is buried in a family plot in the parish of St. Patrick. His father died at age 37 from renal failure. His sister died at age 24 from pulmonary disease. The fact that both father and sister died at an early age and from diseases that are closely linked to complications from sickle cell disease leads one to surmise that they too may have been victims of the hereditary disease sickle cell anemia. Walter died not knowing the true cause of his illnesses. In 1910, Dr. Herrick published a paper based on observations and lab work that he and Dr. Irons had conducted on Walter. They were still mystified by their findings. Some of the information in the report included a yellow tinge of the eyes, several scars from previous ulcers, abnormal sounds in the lungs, unusual blood findings that they never had seen before. He reported Walter's red blood count as 2.6 million. A normal count is between 4.5 and 6 million microliters. His white blood count was 40,000. A normal count is between 4,000 to 10,000. Most curious for them, however, was the elongated sickle-like shape of the red blood cells. After publication of his report in 1910, others began reporting similar abnormalities in patients. In 1922, 16 years after Walter's death, Dr. Vern Mason was the first person to name the disease sickle cell anemia. In 1949, the chemist Linus Pauling referred to sickle cell anemia as a molecular disease. Walter was not a hero in the sense that he jumped into burning buildings to save little old ladies. But he was a hero because of his courage, ambition, intelligence, and perseverance. It took the form of nobility of purpose. These qualities are what made it possible for him to be the first person to be diagnosed with sickle cell anemia. And because of him, we now have research and treatments that have improved the quality of life and extended the life expectancy for millions of people around the world. Walter was posthumously knighted on March 10, 2026 by the government of Grenada. His official title is now Sir Walter Clement Noel.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vincent. Reminds me of having to write a scientific paper. I know you must have done a lot of research on this. So give him another round of applause. It's very important. And so I'd also like to recognize the presence of Dr. Clement Noel, who is one of our erudite internists who has been very instrumental in supporting the establishment of sickle cell clinics. You may not know, but we have 2 pediatric sickle cell clinics every month, one in St. George's and one in St. Andrew. And recently, in the last year, we have established 2 adult sickle cell clinics. It means, therefore, that once we're diagnosed at birth, because we do neonatal screening, you are followed throughout the lifespan, and the best care possible is afforded to people who have sickle cell disease. So you shouldn't be dying at 15 or even 32 anymore. Once people follow the directions, the support is offered, and the Sickle Cell Association does offer a lot of support, including nutritional support, and of course our 2 nurses, I want them to stand. Nurse Jenny, and Nurse Allison for the yeoman tasks in ensuring that our sickle cell patients are given the best quality care in the clinic. So thank you, ladies. And of course, like I said, the reward for good work is always more work. And so, Prime Minister Mitchell, we're happy to have you, and so you want to hear what you have to say. We're honored with your presence at this function, and it reflects how you see the importance of and the recognition that has been put into this the Citizen Award. and how Walter Clement has contributed towards national development, even if he didn't know 110 years ago, right? And we know that there's no reason to forget him or to disregard whatever contribution he had made. Ignorance is not any reason to not honor what one has done. So we invite you to bring brief remarks on this significantly historic occasion. Please, Prime Minister.
Thank you, Dr. Nixon. Dr. Nixon, I feel that you've delivered my remarks for me. And I'm tempted to just say thank you and sit. But permit me to, of course, recognize all of you distinguished invitees who are here this afternoon at this important ceremonial but nonetheless substantive event. And I want to naturally recognize Ms. Anne David Antoine, Chair of the Sickle Cell Association of Grenada, and all of the members of the Sickle Cell Association for ensuring that this event takes place this afternoon, and for giving me the opportunity to make, as the program says, brief comments. The contribution of Sir Walter Clement Noel, not discounting the fact that perhaps by historical bad luck he was afflicted with what subsequently would be categorized as sickle cell anemia. But I think there is a story that has been recited that speaks to a young Grenadian at the tender age of 20, journeying to metropolis in the United States to pursue a career, and to do so successfully, notwithstanding the medical challenges that he faced, and to return to Grenada successfully, and to go about his professional and personal life still afflicted by illness, and to do so until his demise. Even in that short period of 3 decades and 2 years, there is heroism in that story, in the quiet persistence, in the steadfastness, in chasing our goals and our accomplishments. And it is important that I think we recognize that part of the story first, before we talk about, in a sense, the fact that he was unfortunately afflicted with sickle cell and became the first known patient from whom medical records would have been taken to allow for the subsequent diagnosing of the illness. Because in that quiet success story of pursuing your dreams, of going into the wide world and returning to Grenada and succeeding, notwithstanding the medical challenges, is a story that I think every boy and girl throughout Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, and indeed the wider Caribbean must hear. Because too often we make excuses when really our life is frankly very, very comfortable. Very easy. And instead of pursuing our dreams, we allow ourselves to hold us back from going after the things that will make our lives and the lives of those around us meaningful. So in recognizing someone like this, I think it's important for us to be able to show their success, notwithstanding the physical challenges that they had to deal with. And I'm sure journeying to the United States in a social era, which clearly would have been challenging, and at a time when the physical amenities were clearly less comfortable. I don't think we were flying on Boeing jets in the 1880s or the early 1900s. It would have been by boats. And the fact that even while taking that journey, he would have had to be afflicted physically would have been an easy task to turn around and return and to give in and to succumb to the physical challenges. So I think that heroism is all the more why we need to recognize Sir Walter. But the work of Mrs. Anne David Antoine and her team has been unrelenting. And I've had the good fortune of having to interact with her from time to time, and I can tell you she is persistent. right? And in a sense, my presence here today is a reflection of that persistence. But it is obviously for the benefit of the nation. It is for the benefit of those who are afflicted with this illness. It is to their benefit and to their children's benefit, as Dr. Nixon indicated, that with the awareness, with the education, with the fighting for those who are impacted by this disease, the chances of you dying at 32, as Sir Noel did, is significantly reduced. And therefore, the Christianity of the Sickle Cell Association in putting others before themselves, in sacrificing the late hours, the early mornings, it really reflects that the Sickle Cell Association, in true spirit of Sir Noel, is carrying on that heroism, carrying on the fight for those who are impacted by this, to ensure that future generations of Grenadians not only know the history, can identify the grave, can identify this plaque, but that they have the living proof of an association, of an institution that continues to champion the cause of those who are impacted by this illness. And so I want to say congratulations to the Sickle Cell Association of Grenada for keeping and memorializing the memory of Sir Walter Clement Noel alive, so that future generations of Grenadians understand the sacrifices that others have made to get us where we are today, and to find inspiration in their behavior, in their conduct, and in their heroism, so that they too can continue to play their part in nation building. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to make these brief remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister. That's why we like to have young people doing things. They're always ready. We're almost to the end of our program. And again, I want to thank you guys for being here, because this is very important. This is really historical for Grenada. It's never going to happen again like this. There's never going to be another knighthood of Sir Walter Clement Noel and all the rest of it. But what there's going to be always is a Sickle Cell Association of Grenada. So those of you who are not members, join up. Those of you who have money, give us. And those of you who, no, we always welcome donations. It doesn't really matter. If your puppy dead and you want to collect some money, we're good. Okay? And of course, we have a raffle that's ongoing. It's funny because all the prizes in the raffle has to do with the body and health. A massage, dental cleaning, medications, you name it. So at this point, we're going to translate some of our bodies across the street. The rest of us will stand from afar and watch as we unveil which is that thing, that phenomena, that plaque, which is going to immortalize in the eyes of Grenadians and everybody else in the world the existence of a man who, despite whatever ailments, adversities he faced, continued and allowed himself to be that first subject, that first person. That was not accidental. Nobody takes your blood unless you allow them to. So we want to thank him, and let's give an applause to Walter Clement Noel for that. So Prime Minister and Ms. Antoine, all lead the way across the street, please. And family and stuff, we'll go across. And we invite Mr. Casimir to play The Wind Beneath My Wing as we quickly do the unveiling of the plaque.
While studying dentistry in the United States, he simply observed and researched, leading to the discovery and understanding of the disease and saving millions of lives. He lived in this building above his private dental clinic from 1907 to 1960. He's buried in a family plot in his hometown of Sauterre, Clement Noel was posthumously knighted on March the 10th, 2026 by the government of Grenada. Plaque erected by the
it has already gone later. Yeah. I don't know if it's 4:45. Yes, I'm waiting. Don't. By foot. You mean, yeah, you don't mind trading it? Inland revenue? Oh, I think, yeah, that would work. Okay, yeah. Okay. All right. Hey, how you doing? Doctor, the thing is down, the car is down by the next side. So let me run and get it. Let me run and get it for you.
You just walk down the hill.
Okay. Yeah, because my daughter waiting for me. We're late, we had to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you to take your seat so we can just complete this function, please. Please take your seat so we can complete this function in 2 minutes. Let's do the vote of thanks. Please, let's just do this like Ghanaians know how to do it right. Mr. Keith Douglas. Sorry? Buy a beer when all is done. We want to finish the program. Buy a beer? When all is finished, buy a beer for the chat.
Well, you know, when you have the head,
And as the Prime Minister takes his leave, we want to tell him thank you for being here with us this evening. Please tell the gentleman thank you. So there's one nurse I forgot to mention, Nurse Alison Mitchell. Nurse practitioner Alison Mitchell, who actually leads a clinic in St. Andrew at Granborough, right? The adult clinic. St. Patrick's. No? St. Andrew. What happened to St. Patrick people? So I want to invite Nurse Jenny Wilkinson Batiste to give the vote of thanks. Nurse Jenny, where are you? Oh, here she is.
It's always good to say thanks. Distinguished guests, our chair, Mrs. Ann David Antwine, family of Sir Walter, good afternoon. We would like to say thanks to our colleague and SCAG member, Nurse Alison Clouden, for inviting God's presence in our midst this afternoon. To Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell for his encouraging remarks, and especially for taking time off to be with us here this afternoon. Also for unveiling the plaque. To Dr. Angus Martin, thank you so much for your words and the part you play. Continue to do so. For the musical interlude you heard. And for the anthem, it was done by Casimir Thomas and Westerhall Music Academy. Thank you so much. The talented Rihanna Otley is the person who wrote the poem. We thank her for lyrical arrangement of words, and Dennis Guy, our member, for reading the poem. Mrs. Annette Frank for our corsages that depicts the red sickle cell and the purple dentistry. Members of the media, thank you for being here with us. Mr. Dwayne Francique for covering and carrying this event live so that the world can now see us. To our diligent, hard-working assistant, administrative assistant, Ms. Thania Haywood Strode, we say a very big thank you because you have worked really hard. We hope you can rest tonight. To Dr. Peter Radix, the owner of the building, thank you for your advice, your support, and assistance throughout. Thank you as well, Mrs. Radix. Family of to the family of Sir Walter, who put themselves out to come here this afternoon, we really appreciate you being here with us. Thank you for your support, for the information you shared with us, and everything else. And especially Ms. Deborah St. Bernard for your contribution towards this event. We thank you. The Grenada Cooperative Bank for the use of this facility, Mrs. Elizabeth Henry Greenwich, and the team for your protocol service. Thank you. We have quite a lot of people who assisted us, and we're really happy because this wasn't going to go the way it went today. Southern Electrical for the light, Blue Bubbles for the tent, the Brafford family, Sue included, of course, Lansapine Cottages, and Sandbar, together with Thania for the refreshment you will savor in a little while from now. Flo Grenada for the internet service. Ram Supermarket for the bottled water to cool you down this afternoon. The Royal Grenada Police Force, and we say sincere appreciation to the person who we do not know who donated the plaque. Reverend Osbert James, he gave us the authority to park in his parking lot. And finally, it would be remiss of me if I do not mention the following outstanding members who did everything in their power to see this become a reality. Number one, this honorable lady, she made several trips to the various ministries, attended meetings after meetings, just to ensure that the Walter Clement Noel received this coveted award. She burned much leather. We now owe her a pair of shoes. I speak of no less a person than our chair, Mrs. Anne David and Twine. Thank you, ma'am, for your tenacity. Please stand and take a bow. Two. This other member, another honorable lady, very small in stature, but very hardworking. She never take no for an answer. She persisted like the widow in Luke chapter 18. When the messages and phone calls went unanswered, she waited. She tried again and again until she got a positive answer. I speak of Mrs. Allison Clouden, BAM. Please stand and take a bow. Thank you for your determination and your hard work. Last but not least, this individual became a member of our association about a year ago. And from day one, he hit the ground running. It was his dream to see a plaque in Walter's honor erected on this site. Our team leader, who operated remotely, but got the job done. He was very meticulous in his deliberation. He sourced this plaque and ensured that it arrived in time. So he traveled with it for this occasion. Mr. Roy Vincent, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for your presentation this afternoon and for your brilliant idea and all you did to make this a reality. And to everyone who saw it fit to come out here this afternoon, we're very grateful to have you here. This means a lot to us. I know there are lots of activities all over, and I know you could have been somewhere else, but you didn't. You choose to come here to be with us. We really appreciate your presence here this afternoon. To Dr. Sonia Nixon for taking us through this afternoon's proceedings with eloquence and precision. Thank you, thank you, Doctor. So, if per chance I did not say thanks to somebody, I'm sorry, it's not intentional. So, thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody.
Yeah. And so we've come to the end of this event. Thank you very much for being here. And we're going to say good bread, good meat, good God. Let's eat. Please let's share the little bickle that has been provided for us. Thank you very much. Oh my God. Oh. Oh, Addison. Oh. I ain't staying long at all, you know. You can turn this off?